Let's go. We
Let's
are
go.
here live in Las Vegas for the Blue Gems podcast. We have here Noah Hoffman. We just attended the Clever Summit out here. So we're very excited to talk to the Airbnb King.
He really is the Airbnb King, man.
Whoa.
You are just crushing it, bro. Tell us a little bit about how you got started into real estate and then like why you chose specifically short-term rentals.
Man, thank you guys. I want to thank you both for having me on here. And I look up to you guys and want to, emulate you. I want to follow you. I want to, we all learn from each other. So
That's
thank
the
you
way,
guys.
man.
Yeah.
Likewise, bro.
100%.
Feelings are 100% mutual. We look up to you,
100%.
bro. We want to, let's do it together for sure.
Amazing. So I think how it all started, even as a kid, I was always entrepreneurial, didn't follow rules very good in school. Always kind of wanted to do my own thing. So as far as like getting into real estate, my first real estate mentor, he was just, I met a guy and he owned a bunch of rental properties in Berkeley, California. And I wanted to learn from him, and he was a nice guy, but he wasn't able to teach me how to become an investor because, the way he started was with an inheritance, and he was investing in properties, flipping properties. And, he needed carpenters, he needed plumbers. He didn't need me really, but like I hung around him, I helped him out, I ran errands for him. And then one day he had a vacant studio come up, and I had just, this was back in 2012, and my sister had just recently been married, and I had an uncle fly in from Philadelphia, and he says, "Oh, my daughter bought me an Airbnb to stay in San Francisco." I'm like, "What's that?" He told me what it was. It just intrigued me. I don't know why. I just dug in and started like reading about it, and I was like, I liked the idea.
What year was this?
This was 2012.
Okay, 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, early adopter for sure.
Yeah. So Airbnb was, started in 2008. So by 2012, it had been, spreading across the Bay Area pretty well. Probably other states also, for sure, but still pretty early. But, so my friend had this vacant studio. He was like, "I don't know what to do with the studio because there's some, maybe some permitting issues. I don't know if I want to put a long-term tenant in here. What do you think I should do?" I said, "Let's put it on Airbnb and let me manage it for you."
Wow.
He said, "Okay, let's do it." We went, picked out some furniture, and I put it online. It was really easy. And then guests started coming and just never stopped coming.
Wow.
That's a great story, man, because I think a lot of us, at least for myself, Aiden, we didn't get into it until it was already booming.
Right.
We already had enough people, enough gurus, enough people that are teaching us that, Airbnb and short-term rentals is the way. So for you to be such an early adopter, man, kudos for you. It's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. And like every year I keep thinking, wow, like Airbnb is really big now. And I've been thinking that for years.
Right.
So it's like, we're still early.
Yeah.
Still, yeah.
So
Like
true.
we're still early in a certain respect. Like the whole world is not short term yet.
Very true.
And so it's like the 12-month lease with no furniture, no utilities, like that's an old model. And the world is going to keep transforming into this like this bundled model, right? So it's like more and more people are going to want to rent places furnished. I think it's going to continue to grow. It's
Yeah.
going to, and it might be
100%.
30-day minimum in some places.
Especially with, individuals are able to work from home now, it's gaining even more and more popularity. It's starting to become like a way of life where I know a lot of high up execs and CEOs, maybe they're single or they're empty nesters, they're just traveling and it's a way of life now.
Right.
They live 3 months in Boston, 3 months in San Antonio, 3 months in San Francisco. They're just bouncing around and they don't have a home base anymore. So
Yeah.
Right. And just like the founder of Uber said, people, and everybody knows, like, you don't need to own a car in a lot of cities. And Brian Chesky from Airbnb also said, like, people are not going to need to own homes or even rent homes on the yearly model in the future. Like, it's going to continue to grow.
COVID changed that a lot.
yeah.
I mean, it pretty much accelerated what we kind of already knew
Mm-hmm.
because pre-COVID, people didn't really know they could work from anywhere in the world. But now that event happens and it's becoming the new norm.
One business teacher once said something really simple that stuck with me. He said, all businesses is bundling and unbundling. services, right? Bundling and unbundling. Like you can buy food from a farm or Costco or a grocery store or a restaurant. It's just bundling more services, products and services. So that's all this is bundling everything for convenience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Love it.
So talk to us a little bit about where your portfolio is now. I mean, are you managing some? Do you have arbitrage? Do you own them all? How's that portfolio looking?
So right now I'm managing close to 60 units.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
60,
Yeah, the
bro.
Airbnb King. That's why they call you that, bro.
The
That's
king.
amazing.
Across about 10 states,
Okay.
in about 5 time zones, right? So from, Hawaii, California, Mountain Time, Central and East Coast,
Okay.
right? And so I own, or I'm a part owner in about 20 doors now.
Okay.
And not all of them are live yet, but
Okay.
we have a lot of new properties coming on soon after renovations.
Very cool, man. So
And,
50.
and I arbitrage 4 right now.
Okay.
Mm.
So you're at like what, 74, something like that total?
No, total is under 60. Just
Okay.
under-
Okay. Total,
Wow.
the whole portfolio. Gotcha.
Wow.
That's, how do you, so I assume, you're not the one that's, speaking to the guests and, hiring the cleaners and the handymen. You probably have a pretty good team underneath you now.
Yes. So in 2020, I did my first wholesale deal, which changed my life. Right.
Okay.
I made $90-something thousand on one deal.
On a wholesale
Wow.
deal.
Yeah. And that was my half. Right. I didn't close the deal. I didn't sell the deal.
Wow.
And so that day I was like, I need to start delegating.
Yeah.
I was like, damn Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I was like, but I don't like slow down. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Sure.
I need to learn how to delegate
Yeah.
better. And that was when I hired my first VA. But even before the VA, like automation saved my life a few years earlier when I started using different automation tools. Right. So I was doing everything myself up until about 30 units.
Wow.
For like 8 years,
Wow.
around 8 years, maybe. And then,
That's a long time.
yeah, so I was basically like a fireman, like my phone's always on
Yeah.
everywhere. Like I was on a vacation with my family in Mexico a couple of years ago. And we like went out on a boat, like to go snorkeling, like near some little island, like near Puerto Vallarta somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember like, let me bring there's no service out there, but let me bring my phone to take some pictures.
Sure.
And then I jumped out the boat. I was like snorkeling around and my phone rang. I didn't think I even had service, but the guy was on the boat was like, hey, it's your phone. Do you want it? I was like, sure. I swam to the boat and like someone's like, the code's not working to the door. You give me the code. And so I was like, oh, try this other code. And then I was like, something needs to change.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Can't be on vacation doing that.
Yeah.
Right. In the ocean.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've actually been to Puerto Vallarta as well. So I wonder what island you were at. And that's
So-
beautiful out there.
So actually, we were at the Four Seasons down in Punta Mita,
Okay.
which is like 45 minutes from Puerto Vallarta. My wife used to work at the Four Seasons Hotel, and the founder of that hotel wrote a book, and it was and so that's kind of inspired me in a way too. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they've always competed with the Ritz-Carlton,
Okay.
and it's one of the most amazing hotel brands in the world. And his story was hotels. Hotel business started in kind of like a D plus C minus neighborhood in Canada. He started as a contractor building hotels. Then he got bigger and bigger partners. He was building one in London with a well-established partner, and they were able to get the Queen of England to come to their grand opening. So then it raised the standards super high, right? They
Yeah.
got the royal family coming, and that was his new standard. And so now, like, it became like Michael Jackson's favorite hotel, all these celebrities. And my wife told me that after every room is cleaned, 2 managers inspect the rooms.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow.
And I was like, that's what I want for my short-term rentals. I need people to inspect it after the cleaners
Very
finish.
cool.
So I started creating something I call a hospitality inspector. People that I hire in every city to inspect the properties after the cleaners are finished. Because, most people rely on cleaners, and cleaners do great most of the time. But I just want to make sure, because it used to be me when all the properties were local. It used to be me, and then I would notice what the cleaners would miss. And it's not about blame. It's just about, helping each other out and picking up.
So yeah, speak to that a little bit, because I mean it's pretty interesting. I don't hear a lot of Airbnb hosts.
It's a new concept for me.
Integrating something like that, and like, how do you pay them? How are they compensated? Do they go after every single clean? Speak a little bit about that. That's pretty interesting.
So it's still a goal I have to implement everywhere.
Okay.
I haven't been able to. So like I've hired one of in one cities where I have 10 units. For example, I hired one young guy. So it was a property I bought in 2020, and the gardener, it was a 21-year-old guy, young guy. Him and his dad were the gardeners, and I inherited the gardener when I bought the property. And he was like really interested in learning about real estate. And I was like, well, let me, pay you to do other errands for me also around these properties besides the gardening work. And that was he was the first guy I had doing it. So I taught him how to upload videos straight to YouTube instead of like trying to text me videos, because you can't text long videos.
Sure.
So like I created like little instructions for people to just upload direct to YouTube and walk through and look at everything from the baseboards to the ceilings, like the windows, look in the window jambs, just like test everything, make sure everything's working. Just like in even a 10-minute walkthrough, you could catch something.
Yeah.
Like look behind the toilet. Has it been cleaned? Like the windowsills, like garbage in the garbage can. House cleaner might forget to take the garbage out. So he was the first guy I hired to do these inspections. And but then he got busier, so he hasn't been able to be consistent with it. So I'm still working on building this out. But what my idea was kind of like $1 a minute, right? So $30 for a 30-minute inspection. So kind of like an Uber driver, right? Like it's just on-call work. If I have 2 or 3 people available, they don't have to do it every time. Maybe it's not after every cleaning. Maybe it's after 2 or 3 of them. But it'll be billed to the owner, and it'll help their reviews in the long run, right? So it'll pay for itself, the quality control.
Really smart.
I love that.
We're doing something similar in Orlando. Basically, what we're trying to do, Andres in Central Florida, Bastardo.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what we're doing is just like we have lawn care every week, right?
Yeah.
Every Tuesday, the lawn is serviced, cut, mowed, all that stuff. Every Wednesday, we have a pool technician come in and balance the pool. Just every single week, it's on the calendar. We're doing that with maintenance now. So we're trying to take preventative measures. They come in every Monday. They come in. They walk around the house, make sure that the smoke detector has batteries, make sure the Ring doorbell camera's working, make sure that all the doors are working. Snake all the drains, and we just pay them by the hour. They do 1 full hour per week, and we pay them $50 a week. So $200 to the owner, but we're barely having any problems now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still new, but it's very similar.
Yeah,
it is worth it for sure.
Because I tell people a lot of times I have to explain to owners like the biggest expense are guest refunds.
Yep.
Right.
That's something that's people don't talk about.
You just can't have that. Yeah. Right. It really eats up your
plus your
revenue.
reputation too. Yeah. Right. You can't have a bad review. That's gonna negatively impact future bookings. So
yeah, 100%. So you're just crushing it, man. 60 doors already. What's your future goals? Like, what's the end goal? What are you most excited about?
So I'm equally excited. So I look at management as like my day job, right? So besides, we have our virtual assistants who most of have, Airbnb experience. They used to, because, Airbnb has a lot of call centers in Manila, right? Or they have at least one big one outsourced. And so some of my VAs come from, have experience at Airbnb.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And so that was,
really smart.
That was amazing. Like they got it. You want experience? They got it. They have like.
So how did you find them though?
Yeah, I'm interested in that too.
I found them on, so there's Upwork, onlinejobs.ph, for example, just looking for virtual assistants in the Philippines, and you say you're looking for Airbnb experience or short-term rental. And some of them were like case managers, who would handle claims, things like that. So they know how to take care of claims. And one of my other VAs has not worked at Airbnb, but she worked for other short-term rental managers.
Gotcha.
With lots of experience, so they're amazing. and I hired a full-time maintenance coordinator. So this
Wow.
is, I tried someone in the Philippines, but I decided I wanted someone in the United States who had experience with building repairs, someone who could help troubleshoot on the phone instead of just sending the guy, they might better tell the guest, you know, try the breaker on the left or whatever it is. Like instead of just sending someone every single time, I wanted someone with some experience. So every maintenance call will go through him. Um, and then I got a full-time bookkeeper.
So how many people total on your team is that?
So, well, right now we're actually we're at 4 VAs looking for a fifth. I might end up settling at 6. So we want 2 on at the same time during peak hours because they get busy. So my VAs also do stuff that's besides management. They're also helping me kind of launch new properties, get utilities turned on, getting water, electricity, things like that on. So they know how to do that. Lots of other stuff. They know how to also work with finding, sourcing appliances, furniture, talking with repair guys also. So I've had one guy on. I never had 24-hour support yet, but I probably will in the next few months just because I already have right now 6 a.m. till midnight Pacific time. But one more shift and we'll be 24 hours.
Love it, love it. You talk about, your VAs are able to like turn on utilities. I know you don't think it's like that difficult, but when you're scaling, even utilities
work.
starts to be, pretty tedious. That's super cool that you're using the VAs. As far as them finding and sourcing furniture, where are you guys mainly buying?
So when we need something replaced quickly, like Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace, yeah.
And part of it is just because we want it today rather than something that's going to take a couple weeks. But I've also been working with we've been experimenting with some remote setups, like 95% remote. So we have the young woman, Adri and Melissa. They've been helping us with so what we do is we'll send in a 3D Matterport, like a 3D walkthrough, and they will design the property and build a shopping cart on Amazon and find a local storage facility that accepts deliveries. I didn't know such things existed.
Yeah, same.
Like I thought about it a year ago, but like I called one place, they're like, no. But they pushed through and they found places in Florida, in Gainesville, Florida, in Atlanta, in Baltimore, right? In Lansing, Michigan. Like these are where they've set up 5 properties 100% through these 3D, because with the 3D walkthrough, you can measure walls, see what the size of furniture you need. Like you can put king size in this room, queen size in that room. And that's one of the best tools is you can measure. You can measure the walls, the size. They're buying the art, the decor, everything on Amazon and Walmart, basically. Have it all delivered into the storage. And then the guys who accept it at the storage, they'll like take a picture of the packages for us.
Love it, love it.
Wow.
So I'm going to pivot just a little bit. I'm curious, out of all the experience that you've had, since 2012, I mean, it's a decade in the game, basically. What is the one thing that you can attribute to your success that you've, implemented in Airbnb that has taken it to the next level? Like if you could just pick one thing.
I mean, so like as far as like a personality trait would be like, well, like being available. Like I tell new people, obviously people who are nervous, who haven't done it, they like the fear stops them of the unknown, fear of 3 steps down the line or.
Good point.
But so I tell them, look, like I started with no experience. You can start with no experience also, but it doesn't have to be no experience. You could take everything that you learned from other people, and just be available. Just someone has to be available for emergencies. It's not rocket science. If the toilet's clogged, call a plumber or get a plunger. Save some money, like something. Just common sense. Like just be available. That's all you have to do. That's the one requirement is be available, and that's you can start hosting Airbnbs just with that. And then there's 101 things to help you make more money, help you save money, help you do better. Recently, we started sending, because they do the Airbnb has double blind review requests. My good friend Kyle, he's writing a good review to a guest and screenshotting it and sending it to the guests. Like, here, we wrote you a good review. We hope you can do the same for us.
Wow.
Because like they don't know if you wrote them a good review or not, because you don't know until 14 days.
Right, it's unknown.
Right.
That's a gem.
Yeah, that's definitely a blue gem.
So
for
we've
sure.
we implemented that about a month ago, and our reviews are picking up.
You're sending it right through the Airbnb app.
Yeah, just a photo. Like, here's your good review.
Wow. And then what do you use for pricing? Are you self-managing all of the pricing or using dynamic tools?
Yes. I used Beyond Pricing for several years, and then moved to Price Labs. Price Labs is a lot cheaper. So if you have over 20 units, then it's $7 a month per unit. But also but I'm not doing it to save money, because one of my friends still thinks Beyond Pricing might be better, but which charges 1%. But I like the customizations in Price Labs. You can do different date restrictions and orphan nights, discounts, and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of rule sets, and it's pretty comprehensive from a Price Labs perspective for sure.
So like last minute discounts, last minute minimum stay requirements. So what I've done is I do a 50% discount, and they call it a gradual discount spread over 7 days. So it's like today's date is 50% off if today's open. Tomorrow's is like 40% off, and it reduces over the next week.
Super smart. So I know that you alluded to implementing a lot of automation, and Price Labs is one. What are some other things that you've integrated into your business to basically automate things?
Well, the first big one was Smart B&B, now called Hospitable, right? And that one was amazing because not only did it send automated messages like, here's your code, here's the parking and Wi-Fi instructions, but they also had some AI built in. If a guest asks for like, what's the pet policy? Can I bring a dog? It'll that keyword, if they use a keyword like dog, cat, or pet, then it'll automatically respond with the pet response. Like, we don't do vicious breed dogs. We can't allow them, and nothing under 30 pounds or 50 pounds. And this is our pet fee. We charge a pet fee. So it's not a deposit, it's just a fee. And so also like, any keyword. But once I got the VA team on full time, I said, maybe I don't need that AI for those messages, because they can just answer those questions. But now I'm going to bring it back, Hospitable back, because one of their features was sending a guest like, if you have Smart B&B or Hospitable will say, it'll recognize if you have one or more nights available before or after their reservation, and it'll send them an automated message saying, hey, like, if you're interested in coming a day early or staying a day late, it's available and we can give you a discount. Let us know.
Wait, that's integrated in Hospitable?
Yeah, I mean, it used to be.
Okay.
I haven't used that since I stopped using it a while back.
That's amazing.
But that was awesome. So you don't have to manually do that.
Dude, I have Hospitable, and I manually send that message. So
Wow.
I feel pretty foolish now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Check it
Learn
out.
something every day,
Another
bro.
blue gem, bro.
Another blue gem.
Amazing.
So where are you funding and finding your deals, right? Because you said that you're owning almost 20 doors now. So how did you find all those units?
So the first 3 properties I bought were with traditional loans, right? Like, so in the beginning, I drove Uber 60 hours a week, Uber and Lyft, and I had a carpet cleaning business. I would drive Uber in the morning, 5:30 a.m. I'd go into San Francisco for peak hours. I'd come home at lunch, clean a carpet for somebody.
Wow.
And then I was able to use, and then I was also managing a few Airbnb. So that first guy, he eventually, gave me 3, 4, 5 more. I'm managing a few for him. And I have these 3 streams of income. So it's Airbnb management, taxi service or Uber, and carpet cleaning. And as long as you have, the same stream of income for 2 tax returns in a year in a row, then you can use that on your to get a mortgage, to qualify for a loan. So I used it and got my first property was a duplex in the Bay Area, really expensive. And I had a long-term tenant who was stuck for life. So I was able to Airbnb the second unit. And I didn't make that much profit because it's the Bay Area. It was expensive. It was like kind of like a C- neighborhood, but I got in the game, right? And my first mentor was like, I don't really like the property, right? So I had to just believe in myself, right? I'm gonna make this work.
Wow.
And a lot of people didn't like my first few choices, but I was like, I'm gonna make them work. And but that, I look back now, that property, was going up in value approximately $2,500 a month. But now when I recalculate it, it's went up $4,000 a month because this last couple of years was a lot higher.
Wow.
So it went
Crazy.
from 525 to 780 now. I bought that in 2017. That was the first one. So a year later, I found out about another market called Fresno, California, which is 3 hours south, and the Airbnb rates were the same of Richmond, California, where I was, my first property, but the home prices were half as much.
Smart move.
And that was like big light bulb.
Yeah, no brainer.
Right. And then I built my first ADU behind that property. It was a detached garage that already had like a kitchenette built into it. So we just finished building it. It's a second unit. By the way, with that ADU, I first started charging $1,600 a month. I put it on dynamic pricing. It went up to like $4,200 and got booked.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I was happy at $1,600.
Yeah.
You had no idea it was worth more.
No idea about the supply and demand. Like it's everything.
Super smart.
So that was the first 3 deals. Then you got another 17 creative
Right.
financing.
So the third one was another traditional property, which is my favorite now. We call it the Kingyo, which in Japanese means goldfish house. So I lived in Japan for 3 years.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. So my wife's Japanese and my kids are half Japanese.
Very cool, man.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
The goldfish house. Love it.
Because there was a goldfish pond in the backyard. So we built 2 ADUs there, and we parked a travel trailer. We bought a travel trailer because it already came with like the place to park it, the carport, the sewer, water, electric, everything hook up already there. So I was just park it and make money from it. So, and it's booked solid. Like, it's a nice place. It's close enough to the property. We got the Wi-Fi. It's close enough. We got the Wi-Fi extender in there.
Is it themed out like around the goldfish theme, or just the name?
Just the name.
Got it.
Yeah. No, I mean that's just my internal name. That's not what I call it.
Gotcha. Thought you were branding it as the goldfish house.
No, but and then I was like, you know what? This has I felt like I cracked the code to life and like wealth, and like I can buy a house every year and like be financially free. But then I was like, but why stop here? Let me learn something else, right?
Let's go to the moon.
1 a year is nice, but
why not 10?
Yeah,
right. And so I said, I've heard enough about this wholesale thing. Let me look for it. Let me look deeper into it. So I said, if I'm going to learn about wholesale, let me do it in the city that I like, Fresno, not where I live, right, where it's too expensive. So I drove 3 hours to a wholesale meetup, and it was a guy named Stratton Brown was doing it, and I showed up there and I sat next to a guy. I was talking about short-term rentals. His name was, I was like, what do you do? Oh, short-term rental. Oh, me too. His name was Kyle Stanley. And, I found out he was the king of Airbnb in Fresno. And then, he was like, yeah, talk to Stratton about wholesaling. He set me up on all the systems. He taught me how to do it. I was cold calling. I wasn't able to quite close deals. Then he suggested, why don't you follow a guy called Pace Morby online? Like, look at him. So I followed him. He had all this creative stuff going on. I said, I really like the sound of this. I joined his mentorship. And then I still wasn't able to close any of these deals by myself. Calling sellers, I was trying to do it. I paid VAs. We were buying lists and all this stuff wasn't quite working for me. But then other people started coming to me with deals. They were good at it. Hey, I got a deal. Let's partner on it. Okay, cool. So I partnered on like 5 deals the first year, like 50-50 Airbnb deals. One in Atlanta with Buddy Raphael Roman, Rudy Barrera in Fresno. In Bakersfield, like that was the one in Bakersfield was like a classic, amazing sub to like Airbnb exit. So other wholesalers, like they had talked about this deal and nobody wanted it. So it was, the property was worth $325 and they owed 325. So there's no equity, and normal rent was the same as the mortgage, about 2,300. So nobody wanted it. And then the guy, I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Let me see the pictures. Pool, hot tub, beautiful house, good neighborhood. We can make money. Like,
Yeah.
and so zero cash to
That's a gem.
seller. Yeah, zero cash to seller. They just wanted to, like, the people it was a VA loan. They had refinanced, took all this money out, bought new property in Oklahoma. They just wanted out, and they didn't want, if they sold it with a real estate agent, they would have had to write a check
Yeah.
for their commissions and fees.
Yeah.
So to avoid that, they just let us take over the mortgage sub 2, and it needed very little work. We put in less than 20,000 to repair it and set it up, furnish it. I brought a U-Haul with my kids, stayed a week setting it up. They were doing school from Zoom at that time, and
So cool.
and we made all of that 20 grand back, probably between 6 and 9 months. And it's cash flowed ever since. Like, we got, even somebody was like, hey, we want to rent this for 6 months. My husband works for the new Amazon facility, building it, $6,600 a month. Our mortgage is $2,300. So like, we're cash flowing amazing. And like, by the way, it like went up 100 grand since we got it,
Can't beat that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
and then another guy, like, so I got into about 4 or 5 of these partnerships, right? Because I didn't even know how to buy deals from other guys. Like, how do you buy deals? Like, I say I want it, but I still, like, they weren't bringing them to me, but they would bring me these partnerships. And then one guy was like, we split a house. We did do a condo, buddy Gerald Rojas, and then he was like, the same owner wants to sell us 12 more units, 12 more like condos, and a few proper houses. And he was like, but he only wants to sell us 4 right now. We were going to do it together, but he was like, you know what? I'm moving to St. Louis, but if you want to buy them, you can just give me a $10,000 assignment fee, and you can just buy them, Noah. I was like,
Wow.
amazing. So I did that. So I bought 4. It was 3 condos and a duplex, and they were all owner finance, not sub 2, but owner finance on 15-year amortized loans at about 2% interest. And so 15 years loan. So right now they came with tenants in them, right? Long-term tenants. But it was like, basically we were losing money every month. I just had to raise the rents, the normal rents, and now we're breaking even. So even if I left the long-term tenants in 15 years, when those loans are paid off, these properties total value is $650,000. So that means I have this $650,000 of real estate free and clear when these are paid off in 15 years.
Yeah.
But now I'm converting them all to short-term rental as the tenants move out.
Love it.
And finally, I got the first tenant moving out now, like in May.
Congrats on that deal, man.
Yeah.
That's
Congratulations. You scaled quickly, from those first 3 deals all the way to like 10 from partnerships pretty quickly.
Right.
It's amazing.
And then since I hooked up with Munif just at the end of last year, it's even went like higher hockey stick, because he has the deal flow, right? He like knows better how to work with wholesalers. He came to me and he said, look, I got a deal, a good opportunity. Let's partner on this Airbnb. And I have, it's a creative deal with a small down payment. And I have someone who's able to lend us the down payment, lend us all the money we're going to need. I was like, how can I say no to that? Right.
Right.
And so we did the one, and then I thought it was going to be a one-time thing, but it wasn't. It was like, okay, we have another. Then I started like people who want, who I had like in my network, opportunities were coming to me too. I have him talk to them. He's helping raise the private money and find the deals. And then so we ended up buying like 6 houses in 6 weeks.
Wow.
And that was
So that's how the partnership with you and Munif developed,
Yeah.
right? Just from one deal
Mhm.
within a mentorship, you guys, found 2 things that the other person was good at and vice versa. And then it's been a partnership ever since.
right. And it makes me so relieved that I don't have to be good at everything.
Yeah.
I don't have to negotiate any of this stuff.
Yeah.
If we get an opportunity, I make sure it sounds like a good deal. Then they talk to Munif.
Yeah.
You
Very similar to Aiden and I,
Partnerships, man.
Yeah,
It's the bread and
partnerships.
butter of real estate.
Yeah, there's the CRMs and managing, figuring that out, and then trying to track KPIs and dealing with all of like direct seller marketing, all that stuff. I don't want to do anything behind a computer, and this dude is incredible at all of that. So yeah, partnerships, man. I think people sleep on the idea, but everyone that's having success is in some type of partnership to some capacity.
Yeah. You will quickly like run out of steam by yourself.
Yeah.
And also, like, yeah, different people are good at different things. Like that's the most relieving thing for me is I don't have to be like. Once I heard him, I was like, oh crap, I have no reason to open my mouth.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, he's the closer.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see you heavy, you know, on Instagram. You're going to local meetups and you're documenting all this stuff. How has social media and creating content help and change your business?
Well, yeah, that's like the next frontier. And I'm talking about it a lot now because opportunities are coming to me through social media. Literally, like private money and deals, right? They're coming to me from people who know and like me from social media that I haven't met yet on the phone or in person yet. So that's why I'm like, wow, this is real. Like I have to, keep doubling down and getting into it more. So that's it. That's the reason. And we got into a deal just recently. We're going to close on a 5-unit property in South Dallas from a partnership. We were going to Dallas to speak at an event.
Wow.
We were getting paid a little bit of money. We were probably going to break even, but just go there to have fun. And I think we actually lost a little bit of money, but
you had fun though.
We had fun. And then this lady, this amazing woman named Tracy Tran, she was like, "Hey, Munif, do you guys want to stay at my Airbnb? Like I have you can stay when you're in town." And she had, she said she reached out to me a year before, but I didn't respond. Right. So that's why responding is important. Right.
Yeah.
But I just didn't notice or whatever. But she said, "Do you want to stay at my Airbnb?" Munif said, "Sure." Now, normally I would have, if she would have asked me, I probably would have said, "No, thank you." Because I look at Airbnbs as businesses and I don't even sleep in my own.
Sure.
Right. I don't want to mess the flow up at all. I will go rent someone else's Airbnb.
Yeah.
Unless it's vacant that night, without blocking it, But anyhow, so we stayed there. We ended up really hitting it off. And she's like, "I have these opportunities that these wholesalers sent me. Let's go look at some." So we went and looked at a 5-unit property and I was like, I like it. Cause she had a few Airbnbs already that she's really doing good with in Dallas, like the one she let us stay in. And she was setting up some other ones, really cute, really nice. And so I was like, okay. And her partner is a contractor. And he's explained, he doesn't lose a dollar when he's doing his construction, running his crew. So I was like, okay, this is a good partner to have. And so we're in contract to buy this property, right? This 5 units in Dallas. And I applied for the hard money with both of our LLCs on it. And we're going to partner. They're going to do all the rehab work. And then I even was like, let me get creative about where because we still need the down payment, right? Hard money provides us about 80%. We still got to come up with about, 150,000, including setup or whatever. And then we're going to refinance it. But I was like, let me get, who should we ask for the money? Let's, so we don't have to use our own money. And I was like, let's ask Pace. Let's ask Pace. So I hit up Pace. I was like, hey, do you want to get it? I told Munif, I told Pace about it, but I was like, let's invite him on the deal, but he can be an equity partner with us.
And we're talking about Pace Morby, just for the viewers, right? Pace Morby, the creative guy that you're in the mentorship.
Yeah, Pace Morby. And he was like, and I think, he probably doesn't do a lot of those partnerships with his students, but he was like, yeah, I like it. Let's do it. So he's funding the deal.
Incredible.
That's
Congrats,
amazing.
man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Power of proximity. We talk about it all the time.
Man, this has been literally amazing. As we're nearing the end of the show, Aiden, you want to pop off some of these 4 questions that we love to ask our guests?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think the first question for beginners, what would be your advice for someone just starting off, in the Airbnb game?
A lot of people, I think, are interested in arbitrage right now because it's probably the easiest to get in. And I talk about and I think probably arbitrage is the easiest way. It's kind of like buying your way in, right? You don't have to buy a property. You don't have to, for management, you use zero money. So management is amazing too, because you use none of your own money, but somebody with the property has to trust you,
Sure.
right? You need trust. So if you have someone in your life with a property and they trust you and like you, manage it for them. Offer them a discounted management fee and get started. If And then if you have enough money to, arbitrage, rent a property. So my first arbitrage was one of my carpet cleaning clients. I used to clean his carpets. And it took him 1 year to say yes.
Wow.
I bumped into him at Home Depot. He's like, okay, I'm ready.
Consistency is key, man. Follow up.
100%.
Yeah.
And then we did the one unit, and then he saw how well we took care of it. So 6 months later, he's like, I have another one. I ended up having 5 with him.
Wow.
And then I only made like $300 to $500 a month on those. But then those are small apartments. But then he had this big house available, and I was like, yeah, I know it'll be great. But then I got a little bit nervous. It's $3,500 a month rent, kind of in like a C- neighborhood. But like, I know it'll make money. I was nervous, but I pushed through the fear. So that's one thing for new people is when you're nervous, that's normal. If you're scared, that's very normal. You have to push through and move anyway, even if you're scared, because there's always going to be a new fear, no matter what level you're at. But I had butterflies. I was nervous. I had to come up with the first month rent, deposit, and then figure out how to spend all the money to furnish it from credit cards. And then I ended up making like $2,000 a month profit on that one though.
Wow.
So that was great.
Awesome.
Amazing. And then how do you go about selecting a market for Airbnb?
So I actually, so really it depends. So if I'm going to use my own loan, my loan power, I will pick a city very like intentionally, like Fresno. It used to be Fresno, like my favorite market. So obviously the more units you have, more properties in one city, you're stronger there. You have your cleaners, you have your maintenance, you have a lot of, resources in one city. So I would keep doubling down in Fresno, but now I think prices have risen so much in Fresno. Now I'll probably pick a city in Florida. I'm thinking that's next on my list is like Florida for sure.
That's where we're at, man.
Hit us up, man.
Bro.
Yeah. Atlanta was great, but now they have their new licensing.
Yeah, regulations starting to
Regulations
get
are
tough
coming
in
in.
Atlanta.
Yeah, so like I want to go to like Texas is awesome, but they have really high property taxes. So like I want to get to Florida. If I'm going to use a loan, it's somewhere in Florida. Like I was looking at a property in West Palm Beach recently, which
Beautiful
had
area.
amazing numbers.
Yeah.
But like so I look at AirDNA, but I also just look on Airbnb, like how many properties are in the area, how many reviews do they have. I look at AirDNA's best places to invest report. I'll just look at it, but it's hard to make a decision because there's so many places, so many opportunities. So really, with what we're doing now, buying properties, we're buying it based on the deal. Like I look at, the most important thing is the deal structure, buying a good deal rather than how well it's going to perform on Airbnb. Like if I'm going to use my own loan, because I can only get so many loans in my name, it's a lot of paperwork, a lot of hassle, then I'll really pick carefully. But like if an opportunity comes to me from some other state, like I'll still consider it,
Smart for sure. Good takeaways. And then why short-term rentals, right? There's so many different avenues of real estate, but what made you hone in on short-term rentals?
So it was the only thing available to me. Like, and it just spoke to me. Like I can do this. Like I know how to do it. And so now, like I would never do anything else. Like so, I've learned, like kind of growing up in California, working with property owners, like working with landlords, and being a tenant all my life. Like I grew up as a tenant. Like my family, we rented a house, all my life, and like. And so, and a lot of my friends were renters, right? So I know there's this dynamic between renters and landlords. It's like this. It's not a good. It's not. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like
There's some animosity.
animosity. That's
Yeah.
the word, and it's
Yeah.
like this horrible thing, and it's like the tenants feel like I've been paying rent for 10 years. The owner owes me something.
Yeah.
And the owner's like, I've been giving them this discounted rent for all these years. They owe me something, and they just don't like each other.
Yeah.
And the owners that I work with, they're like, never again will I put a long-term tenant in. They're like, Noah, please, I need you. Everything short-term going forward, just because of the laws in California, right? The laws, it makes it very difficult for a landlord to, for example, evict a tenant. Right now, I have 3 evictions going on right now.
Wow.
I just had to give 3 retainers of $3,000 apiece,
That's crazy.
right? And I just hired an attorney to write me a really strong lease agreement for my short-term tenants who want to stay over 30 days, we're putting in all these things that will help me in case it comes to that. Because a tenant in California can say, you know what, I can't pay rent anymore and I don't have anywhere else to go. So I'm just going to stay. And then you have to start a court thing, and it's harder and longer to get them out in California. And we had three. I have three non-paying tenants now that started as short term. Says that we want to rent a few months. And then COVID rent relief, California COVID rent relief, the government was paying people's rent for them. Yeah. They just had to stop paying, but it just took a few months to get it going. So it was very painful for the landlords. So anyhow, so I have a new lease agreement being written that says you're not allowed to have extra guests. You're not allowed. You have to follow the quiet hours. You have to follow all these things. Like you're not allowed to move my furniture. You're not allowed to change my code or touch my security cameras outside, or put your belongings in front of the house, or have unregistered cars there that without written permission. Just so in case there's ever a problem, like they stop paying rent, it'll be easier to get them out.
Super smart.
Super smart. And then where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where are you trying to go? What do you need help with?
Oh man, I need help with everything. So my biggest challenge is management, right? It's like developing this team and figuring out like how many more people do I need for how many more properties that I'm managing. Like we're figuring it out as we go. I have a new operations managing partner from Israel named Edith.
Nice.
And she's been with me a couple of months now, and she's very strong. She's like the iron fist of the business now.
You got to have one of those.
Yeah. And she's like military grade type person. And she's making sure everybody is working hard in our business. That's and so everybody's cool. Working efficiently. And so she's like pushing me work. And also everyone on our team. So cool. She's like, so thank God for her. And because that's like a machine. We have to keep that machine running so I can focus on bringing new clients, bringing new relationships, buying deals, partnerships, social media, things that are fun. We have to have this machine running smoothly so I can grow everything else. But like the social media, it's fun. It's opportunity, and then the deal flow. Like Manif, I'm sure we'll talk a lot about deal flow. Everything is deal flow.
Amazing. So we're going to wrap up. Just one more thing that you can leave the audience. We call it the blue gem of the show, right? A blue gem is basically, you've heard like dropping knowledge or dropping a gem, right? It can be any kind of informational, educational thing, anything you want to leave. It could be STR related, or it can just be about life. One thing for the audience.
So I would say the one thing that I would say is most people have hard time starting when they don't see the whole 10 steps ahead of them. So like make mistakes. Go ahead, get started and make a mistake. Like I learned from my first mentor to make mistakes and not to learn to not do those, but no, make mistakes. So because you're focused on something bigger, you're focused on getting started, getting going. So don't worry. It's okay if you make mistakes along the way, because it's easier to correct as you go.
Yeah, so true. Take action. Lead
I love
forward. Yeah, love it, man. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you so much, Noah. Appreciate it.
Amazing. Really appreciate it.